Our lesson today is 1.3. This is page 13 in your textbook. And please make sure that you have a notebook out to follow along. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a little bit of vocabulary. And the first vocab that we have here is variable. And a variable is when you use a letter to represent numbers. So it may be something like, I don't know, a plus 6 is equal to, I don't know, 9. And so what we're saying here is some number plus 6 is equal to 9. And so the variable a is going to represent what? 3. So anytime that we use a letter to represent a number, it's called a variable. And some common ones that are used are x, y, sometimes z, a, b. You can use any letter as a variable. The second vocab is variable expression. And a variable expression, for example, is exactly what we have right here. It's when you have an expression or an equation that is using both a variable and an operation, which in this case is addition, and numbers. So when you have those three things, you've got a variable expression. A variable, some operation, be it multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction, and numbers. All right, so we've got 3 problems to go over, and these are out of your textbook. This is page 14 if you want to follow along with the textbook. And the problem says evaluate the expression when a is equal to 12 and when b is equal to 3. Well, evaluate means to solve. And so let's look at this first one right here. If we have 9a, and when there's no operation in between, we can assume that the operation is multiplication. So this is going to be 9 times a, and we know that a is 12. All right. And when we go to solve this, 9 times 12, 108. So we can equal 108. Okay, now let's look at the second problem, A, B. And once again, there's nothing in between, so we can assume that the operation is multiply. So if we look here at A is going to be 12, so we can do 12 times, and B is 3. And 12 times 3 is 36. Okay, now let's look at this final one. And this is going to take into account our lesson from yesterday with PEMDAS, or the order of operations. First of all, I would rewrite the equation as 3 parentheses a, which is 12, minus 6. And we have to put in parentheses. So, using order of operations, we go through the equation from left to right. This is saying 3 times what's in the parentheses, and obviously PEMDAS starts with a P, which means we have to do the parentheses first. So this is going to be 12 minus 6, which happens to be 6. And so we can rewrite the equation as 3 times 6 And 3 times 6 is 18. All right. All right. The next problem that we have is to evaluate the expression when x is equal to 8 and y is equal to 2. And then we have this variable expression, 3x minus 5y. So 3x means 3 times x, and x is 8. So we can rewrite this as 3 times 8 minus 5 times 2. And using order of operations, solving left to right. Are there parentheses? No. Are there exponents? No. Is there multiplication or division? Yes. And going from left to right, this is the first one that we run into. So 3 times 8 is 24. And we would rewrite the equation as 24 minus 5 times 2. And we go through this equation one more time from left to right, and we notice that there's multiplication here. So let me just see if I can copy, paste. I only did one. It's okay. We would have 24 minus 2 times 5, which is 10. And now we know that 24 minus 10 is 14. All right. Okay, so now we're going to look at translating verbal phrases. And these are all going to be variable expressions because they're all going to have numbers, they're going to have exponents, and they're going to have operations. So the first one that we're going to look at is this one, and it says 2/5 of a number. And if you look at the chart that has all the variable, or all the, where and means addition, and the difference means subtraction, and of means multiply. You can use that chart when you do your homework so that it's easier on you. I'm not expecting you to memorize all those and which areas they fit into, but we have 2/5 of a number. And 2/5 we can represent as 2 over 5. Of means the operation of multiplication. And of a number, I will use a, just because I have it handy here on my palette. So 2/5 of a number is a. The second one we have is 12 increased by a number. So we would start out with 12. Increased means the operation of addition by a number. And this is where our variable comes in again. Okay. 8 times a number. So we'll have 8 times means multiplication. We put the multiplication symbol. And a number, once again, we'll use a variable a. You could also write this as just 8a. And the last one that we have is a number decreased by 10. So we start with a number. So maybe our number is this variable. Decreased means the operation of subtraction. And decreased by how much? it's going to be decreased by 10. So these are all um, examples of words, and these variable equations you can check to make sure that they're variable equations, because remember there's three parts. The first one is they have to have a number. So in this first example we used 2/5. The second example was 12. The third example was 8, and the fourth is 10. We have to have an operation. Here it's multiplication, addition, multiplication, and subtraction. And we have to have a variable. And in all of these we used a